Hello and welcome to episode 39 of Spear Tackle Rugby podcast. We are back. I'm sure you can see both of us. Well, I am very ecstatic. Timo is also very ecstatic, but that's just the face he creates when he is unbelievably happy. Um, we won't spoil it to anyone. So if you haven't watched the game yet and you don't know what the score is, you should leave now. But if you are happy to get it spoiled and you have watched the game, Timo will bring it up for us now. So I can't see it. I'm assuming it's up. There it is. So yeah, Timo, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm frustrated with bit of technical issues, South African technical issues. But yeah, no. Caught some of it, caught the important things. Caught the Peter Steph Toy actually passing, which was very strange for me. But yeah, no, I'm good. How are you? Obviously, I can see the face that you created is a lot better.
I'm unbelievably happy, and that's no hate on the All Blacks. I know how they feel. We felt the same way last weekend and many times before, in fact. I'm just happy that we're back because I'll be honest with you, I actually felt like that our golden generation was slowly but surely slipping away from us. And I mean, this just gives me a lot of hope. It's a record win against the All Blacks, who I think is probably one of the best teams of all time. And no, probably they are the best teams of all time. Not specifically this All Black team, but the All Blacks as a whole. No team has beaten the All Blacks more than they've beaten them. I hope that made sense. And like Rashi said, we measured ourselves up to them. So we've given them the biggest hiding they've ever received. So this is a proper backlash. And I'm unbelievably ecstatic. I think this win is just good for the rivalry. It can only be good for the rivalry. They'll be hurting, and I guarantee they'll respond whenever we meet up again, which I think will only be next year. But yeah, I think it was probably one of the best games of rugby. It is the best game of rugby I've watched this whole year. It was really probably definitely my top five. It was such an amazing game. I called it in the previous episode. I said this is going to go either one way for us. We can either get hiding or we're going to give hiding. And I said I think we are going to give hiding. And I said there was going to be no in between. It'll go very good for us or very bad. And I did predict. I have to go back, but I'm sure I said by 30 points. We beat them by 33 points, actually. 33 points. So, what a game. The youngsters looked very, very good. In fact, I cannot think of any player in that team that didn't look good. Malcolm Marx, he missed a few lineouts. But other than that, I thought that every single player came there and they knew what the job was and they executed it perfectly. I don't know if you want to go first because I've got a lot to say.
Yeah, look, the thing is, Malcolm Marx probably did miss a few lineouts, but he also had that run down the touchline, which probably made up for that. We can overlook the whole missing a couple of lineouts, and also considering when it comes to lineouts and whatnot. It's so competitive nowadays with lineout ball and stuff like that. So missing a couple is not the biggest deal. It's when you hit the crucial ones. I looked at it and I raised this the previous time with the previous episode. I said to you, and just to admit, I did play devil's advocate on my picks. I did call New Zealand was going to win, and then I changed it to South Africa with 23. So sorry.
Super Brew.
Yes, on the Super Brew. So sorry about that. But it wasn't personal. It was just business. I look at it from this. We've been calling for the developmental things, and in theory, this team shouldn't have put up a record score, right? There was a lot that was I'm going to put it against them putting up that kind of score over the experienced team that the All Blacks did field. So nobody was expecting this. But now it raises my next question as to who do you pick as your best team? Because the team that went there last week, considering you had a World Cup winning center pairing, you had your most of your locks there and all that. Now all of a sudden, is Jesse Kriel for example, the best option for us to pick on outside centre? Is Damien the Islander the best option for us to pick on inside centre? I've always maintained the logic that Damien Willemse is a much better inside centre than any other position on the field. Although he does stand out on fullback, I just think we've got better fullbacks or more informed fullbacks. But having said that, you look at what he did in inside centre now. All of a sudden, South Africa is not running that many crash balls, and the game opens up like he did. Obviously, Cheslin just showing that he does not have any normal human blood running through his veins. There was no reason for that intercept to even be a possibility. Yet there it was. Fussy. If I have to be critical about anything that I saw, I still feel Fussy completely out of shape, and I think we do have a better option at fullback currently available to us with Quainon, to be honest. But overall, this is one of those 10 out of 10 Bok performances. The one that you want to wake up at on this early on a Saturday for. Marnie decided that he's going to put on kicking shoes for a change. Missed one stupid one, and Kobus Reinach showed why he was so sought after by the Stormers. He played his part. He was good. RG, I was very critical about RG. RG pitched up, and that try he scored there was no reason for him. He had no right to score that try. It was, that's something that you would expect from a Cheslin Colby or a Willemse or whatever. And then my last thing that I want to say, developmentally we need to look at it this way, and all of a sudden the young guys were given a chance. Maybe playing Kane and Moody at outside centre, I still don't think is the solution for us, but he did look better, and maybe just getting that clean ball from a guy like Willemse and maybe just being able to play a more natural game that fits his style of rugby. And then for me, the player of the match was in my opinion, was the winger. His name slipped my Ethan Hooker. He was thrown in the deep end, written off box side. We weren't supposed to achieve what we achieved. He pitched up. That one run he made like 40-50 meters. It was just so good. I don't see the competition inside to pick a squad, because considering you've got Kainan, Kurtley Arendse that still needs to come back, and you've got all these players. For these guys to have to play like this, it does put into question, is us pressing on the old guys' number, like a Jesse Kriel, like a Damien the Islander, like.
It's actually an interesting discussion that we can have is who would we retain from next weekend?
Yeah, and that's the thing now, because now we need to look at it. Do I think the game would have ended up the same if Eben was, for example, playing at 4 over Luet? Yes, I do think so. I think Eben would have featured very, very prominently in this match. But I do understand why he was rested. But the key element here is that we have a lot of hungry players. So again, I'm going to reiterate what I've been saying the last couple of episodes. Our margin for error is 0. If you do not perform, we've got 50 centers that can replace you. We've got 50 inside centers that can replace you. We've got so many wings that can replace you. There is no reason for us to pick a player that has 2 bad games in a row. There's no reason for us to do that anymore. But that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, well, I'd like to latch on a few from what you've said before I'll give my 2 cents, which is something we probably shouldn't say, copyright of another podcast. But anyways, so Damien Willemse, I thought he was phenomenal on outside centre. Inside centre, and I was very, very critical of him in the episode of playing an inside centre. And I said it the last episode, I still think he's our best fullback that we have. And I stay with that. The second half, he played fullback, and he was phenomenal. I don't think he's the best inside centre we have. I think that I would still pick an Andre who was also unbelievable in this game, or a Damien Delinda over him. He plays a very different style to them. They're obviously a lot more crash ball, and I like that from my inside centers that's a bit more physical and up front. And Damien Willemse, they always say that he can step you in a phone box, and I think that's what we need sometimes from our fullback. He's also a very clever player, And then Apelele Fassi, I thought he was having a brilliant game until he got injured. In fact, latching onto the injuries. After we lost Apalele Fassi, we lost Cheslin Colby, we lost Lure de Jager very early. There was a few of them. I thought, fuck it, this is it. By half time it was 10-7, 10 to the All Blacks. And I thought, that's it. We're just losing our players left, right, and centre. They're getting swatted down like flies. And then the guys that came on they just fronted up, Cheslin Colby was playing phenomenally, very well. Scored 2 tries, got injured, and I thought, hey, we might open a gap for the All Blacks here now. And then Grant Williams came on and he played very, very good. So yeah, I think this was, like I said, I'm ecstatic. I'm actually shivering. I was jumping up and down, shouting at the TV. It was an amazing game of rugby. 1 to 23, everyone looked very, very good. And I think it's a very interesting thing that you said. If you had to compare, who stays, because it's obviously a lot of not new faces, but newer faces, a little bit more inexperienced. From this team and the team that played at Eden Park. I think Jesse Krill is still the best outside centre we have. I know that you might disagree with that, but I think he is. I would retain him under. I think Damien de Linde still has some gas in him. I think Kurtley Ardens, I know he's injured. I think there's a few, but at least we know that we have a lot of depth and a lot of players that we can call upon. I don't think we should be calling upon Willie Leroux anytime soon, and there's no disrespect. He's a loyal servant to the jersey, but with the way Damien Willemse plays, and when I said it in the previous podcast, we forget this guy won us or helped us win at the 2023 World Cup, where he was our starter, and he's only 26, 27 years old, I think. So yeah, and then the All Blacks, look. In the first half, I was very, very, very worried. I'll be honest with you. When they had ball in hand, they looked dangerous, And once again, they were we had the same mistakes we had at Eden Park. That was sort of we had it again in the first half, where we didn't capitalize on our opportunities. They had 122 entry, and they scored from that 122 entry in the first half. Okay, we had the one where we did score. I think it was Cheslin that scored, or someone scored. No, it was Archie actually that scored, and then it was disallowed because of a knock-on from Kobus Reiner. And then also we had Cheslin Colby, who was literally over the line, and I think it was one of the batted by the Geordie or Bowden batted that very well to sort of rip the ball from him in the try area. So I do think that in the first half I was worried was that we didn't capitalize, and then our lineouts weren't working a few times, and I thought, our defense wasn't the way it should have been. A lot of missed tackles, and another one from Malcolm Marks where he slipped off a player. And also there were turnovers being considered. All the same things that we've been talking about that I thought wasn't fixed. And then I think Rassie Rasmus went into the changing rooms halftime, and he must have given them the biggest speech of his life, because when they came out from the whistle of the second half, they were firing shots. I mean,
he probably told them that they're lying to themselves again.
Yeah, you promised that you'd put 30 points on the All Blacks and you lied. But yeah, anyways, they played. I thought these guys, they played so well. I cannot think of any player that I thought didn't deserve, the win. I feel sorry for the All Blacks. I mean, I would have been hurting. I did fucking hurt after Eden Park. But like I said, it's good for the rivalry. And I think this Rugby Championship is by far the most the best one I've watched so far. Let's be honest. It's not one-sided. It's usually the All Blacks will always win it, and the odd chance that we win it. And this one, every single team has won twice and lost twice.
Yeah, I look at it. We had a discussion where we said before the season started, where we said that the Super Rugby franchise is dead. And they're playing soft rugby and whatever. And from my side, I was the one that said that, and I think we were completely wrong, but I think what has happened here now is that I think the generalization of competitions in general has brought rugby closer. I do see, however, that there is a lack of certain things that we used to get from Super Rugby, and I do see there's a lack of on the New Zealand and Australian sides. There's a lack of what they would have benefited from with us being in Super Rugby. Having said that, I do think with us playing primarily Northern Hemisphere teams, I do think our forwards have bulked up quite a bit. which comes at a price, because if that game becomes to lose, you've got that Will Killer 150 kilogram tank running around. You can't run around for 80 minutes without breaking knees, But, Brenton, at the end of the day, for me, looking at this, I think we need to approach it from that perspective. I think that the margin for error in not performing is over now. Okay, Kane Moody, I feel this was the game where he was given his last chance in the Boks colours, where he was said, this is it. This is what you have. You don't perform, you're gone. And that was the public would have massacred him if he didn't perform at the end of the day. And he pitched up, and that's what we want to see. Mani pitched up. So yeah, all good. I feel it's a good win for us.
We owe Mani Libbok an apology, because I think that's why I sort of disagree with you a little bit, is that Mani Libbok has been given many opportunities before. And obviously he's had a lot of cuck games. He's still not my first choice, But we do. I owe that apology. I've given him so much shit, I think, even on this channel. And I think he really pitched up today. He was very, very good. It's a pity Sasha got injured so early, because I also thought he was playing very well. The problem with Sasha is, I think he doesn't always realize that he's not as big as the other boys, and he really likes the physicality of the game too much, and I think that's why he constantly gets injured. Which I like the fact that he's very physical. I just think that he needs to realize that he's not as big as the boys he's going up against. He's not small at all. Not small at all. But yeah, I think that's why he constantly gets injured. And I hope it's not too serious. Abelele Fas's injury looks quite serious. He had the moon boot on. But I hope Sasha is not too serious. I hope we can see him when we play Argentina. Which I don't know if we will. But anyways, yeah, I'm ecstatic about this one. We're number one in the world again. Ireland have been jumping between second and third, and they haven't played any rugby yet. So I think I might be mistaken. I think we're first, Ireland is second, and the All Blacks are third now. But the second and third between All Blacks and Ireland, that might be switched around, I'm not sure. I don't care, we're first, that's all that counts. So now, yeah, it's not over for us. I'm so happy, like, we've already won the Rugby Championship. We still have to play the Argentinians, one away and one both away, the second one in London or in the UK somewhere. And the All Blacks still need to play the Wallabies. I think if we do win both Argentinian games, we'll win. I think we have the biggest point difference in the Rugby Championship at the moment. I know that the Wallabies have 11 points, and we have 10, so we're 1 point below them. But the points difference, I think we've the highest. So if it does come down to the wire, we should win it. And who would have thought that we would have accumulated all those points from the All Blacks?
I wrote us off after our first loss to the Wallabies already. That's just
like
the
I
thing.
said. I thought this is like our golden generation. Our Rasi era is slipping away from us, and I didn't want to say it, but I honestly thought that we can't be the best forever. Fuck you, we can. I think we played very well. I think that we are deservedly the best in the world. Yes, we lost to the Wallabies, but I don't think the Wallabies are a shit side. And we'll get to their game as well. Where I also think they were probably a bit robbed, but I can guarantee you now there won't be any Nigel Owens video about that, because they weren't playing against the Springboks. I'm very proud of the boys. I apologize, Mani, you played very well. Not that you're watching this podcast, but anyways. Before we move on, that's just like I said. This is the game that does very, very is what we need for the rivalry between the Springboks and All Blacks. If you watch the end of it, you'll see how the guys, Pieter Steph du Toit was crying, and the guys were all celebrating. That's what that means to them. And you must remember, this is a 4-time World Cup winning team. One back-to-back World Cup winning team that's celebrating like they just won another one after beating the All Blacks. So that's just what it means to them to beat the All Blacks.
I think the thing is with that, to add on that is I think what makes it a pressure situation for our rugby players is that they don't do it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's a national thing, because we tend to look at whenever shit happens in South Africa, we tend to look at rugby and go like, this is the
Yeah, that's
one
all we
thing
have.
that we can be proud of,
Yeah.
and it's the one thing that we count on. And as loyal as we are as fans, and we will support the Springboks till we die. It doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
immigrate or
Win or
whatever.
lose.
The thing is, they just as hard on themselves as the fans are on them when they do perform shit. And then all of a sudden now they perform when everybody's in elation. I can tell you, you're gonna be smelling smoke from now till probably 1 o'clock tomorrow morning, with people lighting braais and whatnot. This is now this
I'm lighting mine.
yeah, this is almost gonna be like a public holiday scenario for us with it. I want to just say this, and I did call it before the podcast that I was going to say this, and this will probably be my last thing on this match. But I'll mention a name in a second. But if you go back in history and you look at the times that the All Blacks were disrespected, and you look at the times that the Haka was disrespected and stuff like that, they usually tend to put 30-40 points on a team, right? England did it 1 year and they paid a very, very, very bad price for that. The British and Irish Lions did it one of the years they were touring New Zealand, and they were massacred in that match. There's a lot of passion, especially in New Zealand and South African sides, with rugby, because it is our main sports. And if you disrespect us, we don't take on it kindly. So, Tupo Vai, don't disrespect us. We don't take kindly on that. So, you need to, like I told you in the previous one, you need to shut the fuck up. You didn't listen. Now your whole country's paying the price for that, And don't take on Kobus Reinig. I say bliksem, bro.
Look, yeah, I've got a massive amount of respect for the All Blacks. I really do. I've always, I'm obviously a Springbok, and I know that we like to take jabs at it, and they do it. I mean, some of my favorite podcasters are All Black fans, and New Zealanders, and they take jabs at us all the time. I think it's healthy for the rivalry, and I don't think it's like really dark days. I think they're going to beat Ireland when they in the November Test matches later on the year. I think they still are, up there. I really do think that they're definitely a top 3 team. It's one loss. We were writing ourselves off after we lost to the Wallabies and didn't play as well against Italy. And then we found a way to turn it around, and that's what good teams can do, and that's what the All Blacks can do as well. They must channel this rage that they're feeling now, and not against us. I mean, you have to wait a year before you can do it against us, but do it against Ireland or the other teams that you're playing later this year. I think I think Razor is a brilliant coach. He outcoached the best coach in the world last weekend. I think this All Black team is still a very special team. They do have a lot of young players was it Simon Baker, the number 6? I'll get his name now. Simon Parker. I mean, he's very, very good. Wallace Titi is still very, very young, very, very good. Billy Proctor, I thought he's very good. Maybe not necessarily in this game, but he was very good. Noah, I feel very sorry for Noah. Is it Hotham or Notham or whatever? I feel very sorry for him. He literally just came back from injury and he got injured very early in the game as well. And Leroy Carter, I thought he was good as well. I think we'll still see a lot of him in the All Black jersey. Maybe against the Springboks wasn't the best game to debut him. But anyways, yeah.
But it's probably it is the best game to debut in my opinion.
Time in the deep end.
It's one of those things where you realize that this is not club rugby. This is not provincial rugby. This is not some competition. This is the best of the best of the best going at each other. And you're sitting with two nations that basically, our blood is green and their blood is black. That's how it is. We don't allow margin for error. We don't, as fans, we don't expect, if you don't go and give 150%, other than the coach shitting on you, you cannot go out of your house because the fans are going to massacre you. We don't accept lackluster performances because we get up in time for the game. We put on our jerseys, we put on the funny hats, and we support. World Cups and
Yeah.
stuff, we wake up, we support every game. I mean, you look at the villages that we had up. you look at, you look at the villages that we had up during the Rugby World Cup and stuff like that. You had malls and stuff where there were 13, 15, 16,000 people supporting the Boks at what time of the night and stuff, and then still having to go home. We don't allow margin for error when it comes to our rugby. And our players are hard on themselves, and the fans are hard on them. And it's the same thing with New Zealand. And I think that's why we've got that healthy respect for each other. We will gun at each other, and after the match, we have some beer together. You know, that's how it works with us in New Zealand. We've always had a lot of respect for the New Zealand side. Especially, I don't really have time for any other happy nations, as I've made it abundantly clear in the previous episodes. If you don't believe me, go check it out. But yeah, it was a test match. It was a test match, and I think for younger players that are making their debut, that's coming into it young. I mean, Ethan Hooker, for example, would look at this and go and say, okay, you know what? Shit, we down and out. This is not good. 10-7 down at half time. But then you get characters like Damian Willemse that came and said, okay, now hold on a second. Kobus Reinach had said, okay, hold on. Let's just calm down a second here. We're overplaying or overcomplicating this for ourselves. And that's where the experience comes in. A Cheslin Colby that will pull. He doesn't even pull a rabbit out of a hat. He pulls a fucking elephant out of that hat. Because he had no right. There was nothing on there, The same with
All Blacks, actually.
Yeah, because they were going to go score. The RG try, he had no right to be going through that gap. I thought Moses went onto the field and hit his stick on the ground, and it just opened up. So this is healthy for me. This is healthy for me. It's that competition. This is the Rugby Championship we want to see.
Yeah.
And the Northern Hemisphere teams just need to chill the fuck out before they go, oh no, but okay. Ireland didn't look good in the Six Nations. Okay? No team looked good in the Six Nations. Ireland almost lost to Italy. So at the moment, I'm starting to see this thing in the balance where and I mentioned this, the top 15 teams are getting closer and closer and closer and closer to each other. And last weekend, New Zealand won because they were the best team on the field, but they also capitalized on the stupid shit we did.
Yeah.
And this week,
in the first half as well. Stupid shit.
And this week, we kind of tended to capitalize on the weak points and said, okay, cool. And then you have that in your team. I mean, Ethan Hooker is not the best stepper in the world, right? Okay, but he can change direction on a 50 cent though. It's not 90 degrees, but I mean, he had a couple of good runs. Cheslin Colby can step you on a 1 cent. Damian Willemse can step you on a 1 cent. You've got Kainan Moody, who's much like Ethan Hooker, is probably not the best stepper in the world, but he changes direction deceptively quick. And then you follow that up, bringing up Andre Esterhuizen, who's going to run down your throat every time he gets the ball. I would have liked to see, honestly, the only thing I would have probably liked to have seen in this game is Andre at 10. Not that I'm saying Mani or Sasha didn't deserve to be there or didn't play well. Andre needs to start playing this type of game because this is the same game that he plays at Leicester Tigers. And that would benefit us. And we need to, and I think that Ras is looking at this, and Ras is even going like, what the fuck do I do now? My World Cup winning side, the one that I'm expected to win, loses royally, and the team that I'm just experimenting with goes out and completely massacres the All Blacks.
I'm glad you said that. You see, I don't think, and I know I'm going to get 8 for this. I don't agree with Andre coming back. I think that Sasha and Mani, maybe Sasha more than Mani, is our future, and I'll tell you why. I think the reason we've been looking so cuck this year is because of the type of rugby we're trying to play. And I think the older boys were not able to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? To change, adapt, to try and adapt to that. They know what type of rugby we usually play. So I thought that, I don't think that I think they couldn't adapt to that. Whereas the younger guys, obviously are adapting, because let's be honest, last weekend we were playing, very much a South African style of rugby. The last time we actually played full on Tony ball, except for today, I think was against the Wallabies, and we looked as good as we looked now in the first 20 minutes, and then we got, obviously all of that changed. And then I think we were a bit scared to play Tony ball. I think Rassi said, fuck it, we're going full force, and that's exactly what we did, and we played very, very good. I think this type of rugby, and I've said it before, is sort of the future of the Springboks and how we are going to start playing. But I also think there needs to be a bit of a balance between our DNA and what we're trying to achieve. We need to know when to play this type of rugby we play today and when to sort of go back to how we used to play. And I mean today we went full on. And it was amazing. It was best performance I've seen from the Springboks in a very, very long time. I think the last time I saw the Springboks, that's not fair, but off the top of my head, the last time I saw the Springboks play very, very, very well was against France in the quarter finals of the World Cup, and we had a lot of good performances after that, but it felt like this year we were sort of on a downward slope. We started well with the Barbarians, then the Italians we didn't look as good, the Georgians we didn't look as good. Both games against the Wallabies we didn't look very good. We lost the first one. The second one we won, but like Nigel Owens said, they were robbed or whatever. And then last weekend we didn't look good. So I started feeling like our golden generation is gone, and I'm very excited from what's coming after this game. I'm excited to see what type of players we're going to be playing against the Argentinians, who I wouldn't write off ever. So I'm excited to see. Talking about the Argentinians, did you watch the Wallaby Argentinian game?
I did indeed not watch that. I watched the highlights on that, and yes, again, I'll give my 2 cents on it quickly. Argentina set off like a house on fire, and the Wallabies just showed a lot of character, and it's important that you don't give up. And what I felt the Wallabies achieved in this game, even though they lost it, right, but coming back into the game constantly.
Yes,
is what you need to see from a young team like the Wallabies have. They didn't go and say, "Oh well, shit, it's done now." No. They said, "No, fuck it." Last weekend they did the same thing. 4 penalties after the 80th minute where they didn't take the draw, and because of that, now they're still on top of the log, even after a loss today. Lost with less than 7 points. Where I thought at some stage when I was looking through it. That the Wallabies weren't going to come back from this one, and I thought that GG to the Argentinians, they're just going to run riot on it. But you're looking at the Rugby Championship, and it's 11 points in first place, 10 in second and third, and you've got Argentina in fourth with 9 points. All of a sudden Argentina needs to beat South Africa twice. And they can go on and probably win this Rugby Championship, So it's so up in the air at the moment, and
if it's not us, I hope it's one of those 2 teams that win the Rugby Championship. If it's not us, but I don't know. I agree with you 100%. I mean, the Argentinians looked very good for a while. They ran away with the game completely, and I must say, I take my hat off to Wallabies. I think they are such a special side. They are so confident in their abilities. It's not every team that can be down with 20 points or whatever it is, and then able to come back. I mean, okay. Firstly, I also need to give. I like the way the Argentinians play. They play very fast rugby, and they like I said last time, they like to take the ball wide, but they'll never. And I said this in previous podcast as well. They'll never give up a 3. If there's a 3 points on offer, they'll take it. And that gave them a massive lead, capitalizing on the Wallaby mistakes. For once, I think they were at one stage, 21 points ahead, and because of the way they were playing, I thought that there was a lot of them that looked very, very good. But ultimately, well, they did win. I'm talking as if they lost. But ultimately, the Wallabies, they have this almost like a monster inside of them. There's hunger inside of them, and there's belief which I've seen in the Springboks before as well, and every great team has that, is where even when they are chasing, they believe that they can turn the game around. There was a yellow card to one of the Argentinian players. I can't remember who it was. The Wallabies smelled blood. They scored within 2 minutes. They scored again. I actually think they probably could have or should have won it. There was a lot of 50-50 calls that weren't going their way, but we're not ref bashing this weekend. And I thought the Wallabies were they looked dangerous at times. I have a lot of respect for them. I really do. I take my hat off for them. This Wallaby team was the Wales of the Southern Hemisphere a year ago. They were losing to games that they probably shouldn't have lost. And I think when they were playing against the British and Irish Lions, we maybe also underestimated them. We were all laughing at the British and Irish Lions because they lost to them once. And I think actually they should have won the second game as well. Was the second game? Whatever, I actually thought that they should have won that comp, and we were laughing at the British and Irish Lions, and then we learned ourselves, that this Wallaby team isn't the Wallaby team of a year ago, and Joe Schmidt has done some amazing things with that team, and I think come the next World Cup, they're going to be contenders, they'll really be strong contenders, they just need to keep on that belief. Fraser McWright, Rob Valentini, the two wings, Toole, O'Toole. I can't remember the other one's name, but anyways, the brilliant. The centre pairing. What is his name now, man? The number 13.
So
So that guy, such a Chad. I feel like that guy. And I'm married, to a woman, but I feel like it doesn't matter what that guy does. If you take a screenshot of him, he can be in the front page of a GQ magazine. He's such a Chad, and he's a brilliant player as well. And I thought, that initially I thought that he was going to be, I thought that he wasn't as good as he was being hyped up to be, but he's proved me wrong. He really is such a good player. He really is such a physical player, a very clever player. And even Hunter Paisami, he was coming in for. Is it Ikitau? He was. I thought Ikitau was very, very good. And even Paisami wasn't bad either. He was a very hard ball carrier this game, but. Anyways, well done, Wallabies. You're still in the fight. In fact, you're literally top of the log. So they're still in the fight. I predicted they are going to beat the All Blacks once, and then the All Blacks will beat them once. We know they've got a different rivalry as well. We know what the All Blacks and Wallabies. I think the All Blacks hate the Wallabies more than they hate us sometimes. So and vice versa. So yeah, I think that's also going to be a very good game. I think we have one weekend without any rugby, and then the weekend after that we've got us against Argentina and the All Blacks against the Wallabies. Yeah, I think this is the best rugby championship I've ever watched by far.
I think that's the same. That's the same weekend that the URC also kicks off.
I think it is. And I think your team is starting against Leinster.
And we didn't look very hot against you guys in the warm-up matches. There is we'll get to that. I'm not going to go into that at the moment. I'm glad with the Rugby Championship that we are where we are. Anybody can still take it. It's still up in the air. So I think this week break will probably be good. Going into that, I'm interested to see what Rassi's squad picks will be for the Argentinian tour, going that side for that one game, and then what kind of team he picks for the home leg of that. And then we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't go conservative on us now and picks all the all the players that we've pointed out. I do feel that there is an opportunity here where maybe for the away leg of this tour, maybe give some guys a chance. Give Quainone a chance and all that. These guys are hungry, and they've proven to you now that if you give them the opportunity, they're going to break some records.
Yeah.
So maybe look at that and I do think it was a good weekend for us. Obviously we won, so it is a good weekend for us. Our women Boks are playing New Zealand later this afternoon for in the quarterfinals of the World Cup.
Semi-finals.
Yeah, so let's hope they can also pull a rabbit out of the hat there, and we do a double on New Zealand.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
All right, cheers.